Ladies and gentlemen, I'm your rising hero here with my friend. Please introduce yourself.
It's Sinful Wishing. It's Josh, guys. I'm back.
Another League of Legends game.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be a fun game. We got Mississippi State versus Texas Tech here. And we're going to see, we're jumping right off into the bans and picks stage. And we got a Tarek and a Camille on one side with the Lulu on the other. These just seem like standard bans to you, right? These just seem like normal, nothing out of the ordinary targeting yet.
100%, yeah. The Ari might have been a target ban.
Towards the mid laner, yeah.
But man, is Camille really that OP that she warrants her own ban now?
Yeah, I feel like she's just got so much type of being able to escape any type of CC with her ult, be able to lock down certain AD carries can definitely be very scary for the side of Mississippi State if they have more of an immobile kind of carry. So I definitely could see why they would take Camille out. They don't want their AD carry or their mid lane even being taken out so quickly.
Just pick Janna? That's a little unexpected.
Yeah, but she'll definitely be able to help on the Mississippi State side, where they're going to be able to utilize the CC kit of Janna and be able to keep their carries protected, like I was saying earlier.
You know what I want to see? I want to see someone flash ult with Janna to have like a Lee Sin kick kind of effect, you know, like flash behind the enemy team.
That would definitely be cool. I would definitely hope that if a play could happen like that. And with Varus, you could definitely see a Janna flashing behind a Varus to get him out away from behind his own team and allowing the Mississippi to take it over.
I want to see some hype plays with that Janna. Janna gets a bad rep for being a super passive champion, but I want to see the difference. Skarner going to be locked in now.
I also want to state we got this is the ACEL main channel, guys, and if you were wondering, Mississippi State will be here on the left side, on the red side, while Texas Tech is on the red side. Actually, Mississippi State's on the blue side. Sorry, I mixed those two up. So yeah, this is Texas Tech versus Mississippi State. If any of you were confused on what we were talking about, I'm gonna throw it back to my main man's over here.
They left out Warwick. Warwick's jungler that's been having like a lot of attention drawn to him recently. So I want to see how that's going to work out for the only daddy.
Definitely. I like Warwick's ability to be able to lock down people with his ult, and his sustain in early jungle will allow him to get early ganks off into the lanes and definitely show that pressure to keep everybody not being pushed up. Yes.
Oh yeah. Going to be the bot lane of choice here for Mississippi. Not Michigan State, Mississippi.
Mississippi. This is Mississippi. They're running with the BROVV clan tag. I don't know what that stands for exactly, but definitely.
I don't know. I'm not sure what the VVs would be.
Bro, 1v1 me. Yeah, no. So we got a Corki in the mid lane. That's a fun pick. Didn't see him too much last season, but he's definitely making a comeback with the new item changes to the mid. He'll be able to not get his poke down as fast as before, and allows him to be able to poke himself with his ult.
The classic Orianna ban. She's got a pretty high ban rate for this tournament so far.
Yeah, especially since you don't want to give the Orianna to the Warwick and allow the Warwick to jump in and then get a complete group CC chain going off. So definitely could see why they would want to get rid of the Orianna in this case. And then there's the Thresh band on the blue side, which is another big another big playmaker with his hooks and his lanterns. So it's definitely targeting his main playmaking based champions.
Thresh Varus would have been a very deadly bot lane combo.
For sure, Thresh could have lands a hook, keeps him immobilized. Varus hits him with an arrow and then ults them as well and keeps him again mobilized. It can definitely be a 100-0 type of scenario with those two.
Right, even with Janna being on their team.
Definitely, because if the Janna's not able to get off in time, it's just not going to be able to help in the end.
Team comp, they're going to opt for Braum instead. A little different than what I was expecting.
Yeah, but it's definitely going to be there to try to stop the Jinx's long range with her W and with her ult. That'll definitely help out. in the end, and because his shield blocks both the traps Jinx throws out as well as her slowing stun gun. So Braum is actually a decent choice against this Jinx and Janna to help keep Varus from taking less damage.
I didn't even realize that Braum disrupted the Jinx trap as well. Sion gonna be picked up top lane. Sion has been seeing a spike in win rate. He's all the way up at 54% right now.
Yeah, it's crazy. Sion's definitely one of those champions that you can't turn your back on. If you ignore him in the top lane, he'll just split push. But if you he has insane roam potential due to his ult being able to go from top to mid lane within seconds. So it's definitely a great champion to pick for that top lane to keep help support the mid Azir that they decided to pick on to get that Shurima shuffle in here.
I can't wait to see that. Seeing Shurima shuffles it's always a hype time when you see something like that.
Definitely, you get to see him fly in through the end to the enemy backline and push everybody to the front. It's definitely a spectacle.
They're gonna round out their team comp with Shen. I'm liking Mississippi's team comp though. It's looking pretty deadly. You got the Warwick and the Scion with the engage and the tankiness, the front line for Jinx. Some engagement as well with his stream and shuffle. So I think if Jinx just stays in the back line for the most of the game, she's going to be in a position to carry.
Yes, but on the other side with the Texas Tech, I kind of like their comp a little better because they're very heavy on the pokes. And if you see all of the, you have the Jinx and the Azir back there. They're very squishy. And the Varus, if he can hit a good Q and this Corki can nail his ult, he can definitely pop one of those two without expecting it. And with the Skarner there, they're going to be able to pull in one person from their team and bring them into their clutches. And the Shen can keep them locked down with that CC of his taunt. Yeah, so both teams have very great comps, in my opinion.
Interesting to see if somehow if Skarner opts to ult a frontliner just to get him out of the way and make Jinx more accessible, you know?
Definitely.
Interesting.
It seems like Mississippi doesn't have as much of a front line as Texas Tech does. Texas Tech definitely has those big hitters with the Braum and the Shen to keep people off and be able to keep the big Warwick and stuff off of them, while Mississippi State doesn't have as much. They really only got the Scion and sometimes the Warwick, depending on how late in the game they are. So it's definitely going to be. For Mississippi, they're definitely going to start and finish the fight within seconds and not let it go over for a long time, where Texas Tech can keep picking at them.
I agree, but at any rate, it's looking like both these team comps for both teams is going to be very team fight heavy. So that's going to be very interesting to see.
Definitely, it's gonna even at the beginning with this jungle section, depending on what buff Skarner and Warwick start, which usually will start with the red and the blue. But if one of them gets a little more aggressive and starts counter jungling, it can definitely change the tides of this battle because Skarner and Warwick are one of those kind of like hyper-ish carries where if they start getting fed a little bit, they can definitely impact the game a lot more.
What do you think is going to be the end game for both these teams? Like, who do you think is going to win it?
Who do I think is going to win it? Oof. Looking at these comps, I feel like if it's before 20 minutes and it's looking like it's going in down, I feel like Mississippi State is definitely got it in the bag. They have definitely that early game potential and definitely being able to push and do much damage. While I feel like the Texas Tech side, if it gets a little too much into the late game, they have a lot of big people like Shen and Skarner who just start to pop off towards the end game, and Corki gets that damage spike with his ult, and Varus just starts getting that Gunzu's Rage Blade. Those two just combined can just burst the entire team. So I think early game goes towards Mississippi, while late game might be going heavy on the Texas Tech.
Seen a lot of changes to mid lane items. Do you think that this affects the matchup for Azir and Corki in particular?
Probably not too much to the Corki, because Corki goes into the Triforce and then more towards like an 80 carry kind of build, while the Azir might be a little lower on the health based side because some of the AP items have lost their health and they got more cooldown reduction though. So though Azir probably going to be affected a little bit, he's going to be able to summon his soldiers and be able to do a lot more with his abilities way quicker. So Azir is going to be more of a glass cannon than he probably was in the previous times.
It's more of a change in playstyle rather than a change in build per se, right?
Yeah, definitely. You're still going to be building your core items instead of getting Morellicons anymore, though. getting that GP, or you're going to be going off into the Luden's Echo side. But after that, it's probably just going to stay the same core kind of build after those two first items.
Namicon that you mentioned is actually a pretty big hit to Azir because he really needed that mana sustain to keep his soldiers up constantly. Wow.
Definitely, and those items, as much as they didn't get hit with the mana as much, it's more like they lost their more sustainability type of things where they got more health, or they're able to live those like one health based things. That's not going to happen as much. They're going to be able to get taken down because AP mid laners were definitely surviving a little bit more than people would have liked against like their AD combatants. Sorry, getting difficult pronouncing things.
We're seeing their choice of summoner spells and runes, and we're seeing Predator Skarner.
Ooh.
Skarner in the jungle, but I'm not sure if that's standard either.
It's definitely, I don't think it's the most standard one, but it's definitely, you could use that because that'll allow him to get extremely heavy ganks. That's definitely a Skarner that's going to be wanting to come in, and it's going to be all or nothing for him. When he pops that Predator, he's going to be probably trying to take the mid laner or take the top lane or the bot. He's going to be going in and going out. I don't think he's going to be trying to be fighting over a sustained amount of time. Well, we got a Scion with the Comet over there, which is another very interesting pick.
I was noticing that myself. I don't think Comet is... Well, I actually have seen a lot of Comet Scion, but I wonder why he opted for that instead of something like maybe Grasp of the Undying for tankiness or something like that.
Yeah, it definitely shows that he might actually be building a little more towards an AP kind of style Scion, maybe a Rod of Ages kind of like mixed play we might be seeing up in the top lane, but we never know. The Comet might be just there for early damage, but when it comes towards the late game, that unless he's built any AP items with it, the Comet's really going to drop off with the damage.
Do you think that he might have got that knowing that his team's very early focused per se to like just kind of poop on the Shen and abuse that?
Definitely. So now we're here on the Rift, and we have everybody's positioned up. We have good defense plays down in the top, up in the top jungle. We'll be having Azir and Scion just positioning up here while the Shen and Skarner are countering it, and Shen seems to be going over to say hi a little bit to Scion, while Sion's there to capture that crystal from Skarner. It seems like there's a little bit of play down the bot lane as well, while the red side of Texas Tech are taking that blue crystal down there for Skarner, and the Warwick and Jinx and Janna are going to be down in the bot, probably starting red. So actually, it seems like Skarner came from the top down to the bot, which is very interesting. Now we have Skarner starting blue and Warwick starting red, so doesn't seem like too much counter jungling will probably be happening in the beginning. They'll just doing straight farm, and it seems like everyone's pinging around. That's good side for Mississippi, that they're showing early communication right off the bat, which is a great thing to see, because communication is key in this game. Without communication, you're not going to be able to get anywhere with it.
I think you're right. That's a little underrated. Wait a minute. Is that already a scuffle in the mid lane?
It seems like a little bit of damage poke from both sides, and it seems like Corky's definitely showing Azir that I have a little bit better early game than you, and he's definitely harassing that Azir off his phone, while the Scion's showing that Shen that he might have a little bit more poke than him.
Actually, he had to pop both his potions in that exchange there. Took a lot of damage from the Corky.
Took a lot of damage indeed, and that's a sad thing to see that Azir was not able to keep the spot right there, but hopefully his mid game will be able to come back stronger.
And to get a little bit aggressive too. Interesting.
All right, so let's see. We have a Water Drake spawning first. I think that it will be a definite contest there. Water Drake's one of the more important dragons, I believe, and so. Do you think there will be a shuffle there at the Dragon Pit when that comes to play?
I think there's always a shuffle for the Dragon Pit. Mississippi State in particular is very well known for having some very heavy, like dragon control. Things kind of pop up. They're usually the first to get on it as soon as all their champions hit level 6. So without a doubt, Mississippi's going to be at the Dragon Pit. It's just a fact of whether or not Texas comes to kind of contest that.
For sure. So now we got the Scion in the top lane. He's definitely poking down this Shen and pushing him under tower, but I don't like how he's pushed up so much. He does have the top warded, which is a good sign of being able to keep track of that Warwick, the Skarner. But the problem with pushing up that heavy is that Skarner could just pop out of his own jungle from the top side, and with those Predator boots, he could be there in a second. So Sion's definitely got to be careful not to push too much.
Speaking of this, it looks like both junglers are going to meet each other by the river.
For sure, and they're pinging. We have the Skarner pinging the Warwick right now. Well, the Warwick's question marking the Skarner. So it's definitely showing the communication on both sides, which is good. Seems like Brahm's rotating a little bit towards the mid side through the river, and it seems like they're going to be trying to make a play here.
He's looking like he's in trouble. Just going to dash out of there and be safe.
Yeah, but he's very low on mana, so he probably won't back soon, or he's going to be suffering the consequences when he doesn't have the right amount of mana to be able to escape another close encounter like that.
And very aggressive plays coming in by the Skarner here. Trying to visit bot just to pressure the bot side a little bit more. Going to back to Corki getting extremely low from Azir now. It's looking like he's going to need to back too if he doesn't get enough mana.
Oh, there's a flash.
Forcing Corki's heal, but no kills. Not first blood just yet.
Not just yet. And it seems like I like Corki's skin, by the way, and Jinx's skin. They're definitely doing the Chinese New Year-like thing. That just happened a couple weeks ago. So I'm definitely enjoying the little bit of festivities happening right now. Showing that they show some love over for the year of the, I believe, the dog. Yeah, I was going to say the chicken, but the chicken was last year. It's the year of the dog now, yeah. So that's pretty cool. Well, back onto the Rift. We have everybody up farming right now. Nothing much happening, but Sion's definitely still showing that he's got the lane aggression over here, while the Azir's going to be backing off to probably regain his mana and health and buy some of those early game items. It seems like he'll be actually going for a Gnasher's Tooth first. So he's definitely going for that quick attack speed and harassment towards the Corki, but sacrificing any mana is sustained in the process of that.
Azir's opt to do, even when Morella Namicon was not reworked the way it was. I know that some Azir's opted to go for the Gnasher's Tooth just for that they value that attack speed so much.
For sure, for sure. And so it seems like two counters right now. Top lane's pushing in really heavy against this Shen, while the Corki's doing the reverse on the Azir in the mid lane. And it seems like they're actually going to be grouping up to take this dragon really early, right when Corki was 6 and Varus is 5, and the jungle's not even 5 yet. He's only 4, so it's a really extremely early jungle that I don't think Mississippi would even see coming.
I'm actually really surprised about that. Mississippi State tends to be the group that likes to prioritize their dragon control. So to see them just lose that uncontested is very surprising to me.
Yeah, it's very interesting that the bot didn't even question mark. They didn't even recognize it, so there's the lack of communication on their side. If they would have maybe question mark it, because Warwick was down in the bot jungle, he might have had an idea of maybe going over to the dragon pit and checking it, maybe because now the bot's missing, mid was even missing. There was a lot of people missing, yet there was a lack of communication on
I thought, side. Yeah, and I thought that they were actually moving towards the dragon pit too, but that wasn't the case at all.
Yeah, definitely was able to contest, but missed opportunity. Hopefully for the next one, they'll be able to bounce back and try to get the next dragon.
It just gives you some increased regeneration. It's no like Infernal or Mountain Drake, which is prioritized even more so.
It just helps with the Corki and the Varus, where they are using a lot of abilities to poke with. They're able to now poke for that much longer. So that's the only thing I felt like the Ocean Drake's that much more useful for Texas Tech now, because they have such a pokey type of comp that they're going to just be able to sit back and just keep laying waste while not having to go back to base as often.
They prioritize that Ocean Drake in the first place, just to make sure that they are allowed, like as you said, to get a lot more poke off in their laning phase. So
yeah, but it seems like the Skarner will be redoing his jungle clear, finishing that up with the it seems like actually Texas Mississippi's actually paying this Skarner because they have a little bit of a vision, I guess. I guess they're actually, no, they were probably counting the timers. So that's good for Mississippi being able to understand the respawn timers and being able to basically be like in chess, one step ahead of Skarner. And being
actually very clever. However, Warwick, as you just saw, did get spotted by the blooming plant. So it's kind of equal on both footings in terms of where the jungler's at. Both teams know where the jungler's at exactly.
Yeah, what makes it more impressive for Mississippi, though, is the fact that Warwick didn't need a blooming plant to do it. He just needed the knowledge of the game, which is a great thing to see in players.
Very clever indeed.
Very clever. All right. Everything's back to its fun farming time. So, what do you think is the biggest change this patch so far? Do you think that was happening?
110%, it's the changes to the mid lane items, because that changes the way that champions build. It changes who's a good champion, who's a bad champion. And from my understanding so far, even though that this is still fairly new changes, mid lane tends to be dominated by whoever can burst you down the fastest. So things like maybe Ahri or LeBlanc, Brand mid, if people still opt for Brand. It's just a lot of like burst kind of things, especially since mana regen or sustain isn't really all too prevalent. It's more so about that like that Luden's Echo kind of burst.
For sure, for sure. And now we have a little action both in the mid
Double coming off the court here. He's in a bad spot. Forced to use his W to try and get out of the way. Azir's gonna have forced to pop his flash and his heal. First blood coming to Warwick, but here comes Skarner to try and turn things around. He's gonna get the kill on Papa. Warwick's looking for a little bit more. There goes that press the attack proc, but he's gonna get stunned by Skarner, and he lives to tell the tale.
It was definitely an intense team fight right there in the mid lane. Predator boots on that Skarner helped extremely, being able to get into that fight very quickly, being able to take the Azir before he got under his turret, being able to pull him back. But sadly, Corki was just a little bit too far out and wasn't ready for the Azir's quick shuffle up and then throwing the ult down and stopping any type of escape for the Azir, for the Corki.
Skarner's level 7.
I did a little friendly pop right there. It's just showing him who's the boss. Backed away. Going back into that.
Remember that earlier exchange with Azir, so he actually didn't have it when he was pushed so far up. And I guess he wasn't anticipating the Shuriman shuffle or something. It's just a very interesting catch, basically.
Yeah, I think Corki was just basically punished for being a little too far up. He should have probably been a little bit farther back and respecting Azir and not being so being so aggressive on him. He should have been playing a little bit more passive and like understanding that they don't really know where the jungle is right now, so they need to be ready for anything happening.
Right, and it was very interesting, as you mentioned, how Skarner was able to get into the fray and actually get a return kill just based off those Predator boots, as you said, and survive thanks to Skarner's abilities.
One thing I see that's extremely interesting is that Warwick hasn't actually gone by the Dragon Pit once, so he hasn't cleared that that ward right there, that pink ward, and has not been able to help get rid of that vision, which is very essential to Texas Tech, because they're able to see if Warwick's actually coming from the mid lane or towards the bot lane through that river passageway. So I feel like the Warwick should have probably be stopping by that Dragon Pit sometime soon just to check it up and see if there's anything happening and maybe trying to take that ward out.
If he doesn't, it's not particularly the worst thing in the world. Junglers are very familiar and adept in terms of like changing their ganking patterns to avoid particular wards that they're aware of. But if nobody on Mississippi State is aware that that ward is there, then yeah, that still becomes a problem, as you mentioned.
Yeah, and it seems like he does keep pinging it, which maybe he does know the ward is there, so he could be just purposely dodging it. But if he isn't doing that, he definitely is going to be surprised when he sees that ward there.
One thing that's really been surprising for me is these their junglers' choice of clears. They both have very similar clears, and they've been mirroring each other for the majority of this match so far.
I feel like they're basically, since they started on the same buff, their reset timers on their camps are basically the same. So it kind of makes sense why they're both doing the same kind of clears, because they're both also heavy clear type of champs. That's a tongue twister. But they're definitely wanting to clear all their camps and not do as many ganks, because they're trying to get higher than the other one basically and trying to catch up to the ones.
If you notice here, Corki was able to get the blue buff thanks to Skarner there, and that's actually going to be pretty huge, as you said. That poke being super important for a champion such as Corki. So having that mana regeneration and cooldown and minor cooldown reduction is actually pretty important for them.
Yeah, and it seems like Warwick has dropped a ward into the Dragon Pit, so he definitely knows that pink ward is there, and he's definitely pinging off, showing that they might try to start Dragon sometime soon. Just keep your eyes on that ward to see if they clear it or not.
So this one does in fact matter a little bit more, so.
Yes, definitely. And it seems like Warwick's going to be sitting mid to see if they can do anything while the top laners are just poking at each other, because that's what big tanks do. All they do is just hit each other back and forth with big meat sticks.
Oh, wait a minute. Corky stepped a little too far forward. He's going to be touched by that infinite duress, followed by the stream and shuffle to press the attack coming through. Azir forced to flash, but he gets the kill onto Corky.
Yeah, it's definitely that Corky is not respecting the Azir and prepared for how fast his distance is. He's just is not able to react in time for when the Warwick is coming in after the Azir pushes him back.
And get an all-in here. We're seeing a little bit of a scuffle coming in from both top laners, but Shen's taking a lot of damage from these minions. He's going to find himself stunned, barely able to get that shield popping off, but he's getting slowed, and look at how much HP is left remaining. That Warwick mark is going to come on top of him.
Shen's got to be careful due to the fact that even if he does take down Sion, Sion still has his passive. So he has to be careful on how much health he wants to trade with the Sion, because the Sion can always come back and kill him and then just make it into a equal trade. But if he exhausts a bunch of summoner spells in the process, it might not be as equal as he would like it to be.
Garner going to be spotted by this ward here, so now they know exactly where he's at, but they don't know where Warwick is at. I wonder if Mississippi is going to use that to their advantage.
If you look at the mid lane here, the reason why the Skarner's not having as many successful ganks on that Azir as the Warwick is the Azir is actually keeping his minion wave on his side. So the Corky's always pushed up and the Azir is usually more towards his turret. So that helps in the end when it comes to these ganks, getting the Corky into a better position for the Warwick and in a worse position for the Skarner.
Speaking of Corky being in bad positions, he's going to take a little bit of punishment there from the Azir.
Yeah, but
you touched on something that's actually really important there, and that's wave control in terms of how you use that to gain an advantage too.
Yeah, being able to freeze the wave and being able to keep it where you want it to be helps you with lessen the fact of like CS keeping track of CS, but more in the fact that you now have control over your wave and you can dictate what happens. And you should definitely want to be the one in control, because once you lose control of your wave, it can be very difficult to regain that control.
Very important aspect in League of Legends, including control wards. Oh, wait a minute, hang on. Infinite Duress is going to be popped by Corky. Shreem and Shuffle not going to find his mark this time, but Corky is forced to flash for it.
Yeah, definitely.
While Texas Tech University is opting to go for the Mountain Drake instead. And we're going to be seeing a little bit of a team fight here. This time, Skarner's going to flash forward and use his ultimate. Varus is going to follow suit through. Shoney Boy is going to get that final kill onto Pop, and the only Daddy and Warwick goes down as well. With no jungler left remaining, it's going to be very easy for Texas Tech to be able to finish off this dragon. Jinx trying to do as much as she can just to try and turn this around. It's not going to be enough. Red team slays the dragon.
Yeah, and it's simple as it was just bad positioning in the end on that fight, and Warwick and Azir pushing a little too heavy and being punished for the bot lane of the Texas Tech side reacting faster than the Mississippi side. So they definitely wanted to be a little bit more careful on that end.
Huge boon for Corky, because that relieves some pressure off of mid with the Azir finally dying before he becomes like on a killing spree or what have you. So that allows him to now dictate the pace of his wave when it returns. And now you're seeing Texas Tech taking a lot of dominance with their objective control so far.
Yeah, definitely. But even though they did win that team fight in that dragon, there Mississippi State was not too far behind, with the Sion taking advantage of the situation and just completely pushing in that top lane to be able to secure the first tower of the game, to be able to allow him to take less pressure off the top lane and start putting it more towards the mid block now.
That's 100% true. But aside from that, look at all these look at all the wards that are spread across the map right now. You got 2 pink wards near the dragon pit in the bot side of the river. So that means Texas Tech has a lot of control towards that area to kind of do what they want, such as roam mid.
Oh, and it seems like the Azir has been baited
in a bad spot. What's the Shreem and Shuffle? He's going to try and dash out of there. It's not going to be enough. Shoney Boy gets another kill onto Azir. A very clean one, I might add.
Yeah, poorly. Azir, I was just complimenting so much about his positioning, but there he got so baited. He got jebaited by the Corky coming in there, because Corky was like, he knows that the Azir thinks Corky's not the brightest, but in retrospect, he was actually already one step ahead of that Azir and showing that the Azir took a little bit of the bait, and that was enough for the Braum and the Skarner to just pincer movement that Azir, and the Azir slowly got pushed towards the Varus that was coming up to follow up with the final takedown there. So it was
4D
a great
chess, man. 4D chess.
It was a good communication by Texas Tech there on that position.
Turret is going to take a lot of damage, but Skarner's here as well as Warwick. Awful.
I feel like Mississippi should not start that fight just because they are not nearly as high as the enemy team. But they should definitely defend the turret.
Not only that, they're losing all 3 of their turrets right now. That's going to be, I believe that's, no, that is not the first turret because it looks like Cyan got the first turret topside. But even so, opening up tier 1 turret in mid lane opens up a lot of jungle options for Texas Tech.
Yeah, that and not only
that, more of that snowball potential there.
Yeah, not only that, but the mid laner now has, especially with Corki, he can now roam that much more. And not have to worry as much about mid lane. And mid lane is the hardest, in my opinion, turret to take. So by them taking that first turret at mid lane, it's definitely showing that they have an advantage right now over top of Mississippi State.
You're going to be using that advantage down bot lane where Varus and Braum have had a rather commanding lead in terms of their pressure in the bot side. So if they transition to roam bot side and then they can that option and transition that into the top side, and I think that's how you are going to snowball the game in this situation.
For sure, for sure. And it seems like now on the side of Texas Tech, they have so much more vision than Mississippi State right now. They have wards all up and down this river, allowing them to be able to tell whenever anybody's anywhere. And that allows them to be able to do these kind of split pushes and be able to try to take these turrets way quicker because they now have more of an understanding of where everyone's at.
You're seeing here, like, this is a perfect example of how you can snowball and lead a game without necessarily having to get a lot of kills. Like, we're already 20 minutes in this game, and there hasn't been a lot of kills on either side, really. But we're seeing the different ways that you can gain an advantage.
For sure, and it seems like the Science down, ulted down to the bot lane, try to prevent this turret, but sadly the turret will be dropping to the Corki and Varus combo there, being able to just burst down that turret real quick. And Scion, as I can commend him for his attempt to defend his bot turret there, he just didn't have enough CC or just damage in general to clear that minion wave and be able to stop them from taking that turret down there.
Very ambitious play, and that's exactly what I was saying earlier. Corki was able to roam bot side, and that allowed them to get the turret down there. So now it allows them to move all their focus towards the top lane. Doesn't have the luxury of those many options right now.
Hey, Hero, do you know what Onions and Shrek and League have all in common? They have layers. And just like in this game, right now, for Texas Tech, they're right now taking down these layers. The first are these first tier towers, next will be the second, third, and hopefully finally that final Nexus takedown. But they're doing it right now. They took the bot, they're going to take the mid. Hopefully now it seems like they're going top to take this top one, and they're just going to keep doing this cycle. So until Mississippi State does something major to try to tip the odds in their favor, maybe a Baron, maybe a win in a giant team fight, Texas Tech is just going to slowly take down all these layers until there's nothing but the core left.
I love the analogies, man. And speaking of taking layers down, look at that turret. It's already finding itself very low.
Extremely, and it seems like
it's definitely going to take that down. Oh, Chain of Corruption actually going to land. Braum's going to try and go all the way inside. They're not entirely sure who to focus. Janna forced to pop her exhaust and her ultimate in order to get them to back off. She's going to find herself getting stunned, and look at that Ginsu's Razor Blade damage coming in clutch, and that's going to be Janna being completely deleted. Bear's forced to flash out, but here comes the Stand United. Now Cyan's the one who's finding himself to be stun locked, trying to use that unstoppable charge, but it's not quite enough. He's not able to get away. Taking a lot of damage in response. That turret's going to be landing onto Varus, but Cyan, however, is going to be slain in response. 2 kills to nothing.
That's 2 to nothing there, and a top. It's 2 kills to nothing as well as a top turret takedown, which is extremely essential. And now it seems like not only did they win that top lane takedown, but they also have Skarner and Corki down into the dragon pit, taking down this Earth Drake, which will be now 2 Earth Drakes for them, and that means they're just going to have that much more damage than taking down these turrets.
It's something that is, just as we predicted, is very important in terms of their playstyle and how they're opting to grow that lead. Like, even right now, they're trying to stop the siege, but that turret's already gone.
And it seems like Big Daddy Warwick, he was trying to take that red buff right there, but sadly it's going to be going down to the Corki and Skarner that were just lying in the brush waiting for the right way to pounce on their prey.
things are starting to look very scary for Mississippi State here, as Skarner and Corky are still pressuring bot side in that turret, and a very relatively fed Varus and Braum are threatening the mid lane turret too, and those are tier 2 turrets. You can't really lose those this early into the game.
Nazir's going to be almost taken down right there, but he's able to escape in time, which is good for him, but sadly, the trade-off for that is going to be that mid lane turret. Actually, no, I spoke too soon. It seems like Texas Tech was not able to keep the siege up, and Mississippi State was able to come back and counter push them away from both the bot and the mid turret. So even though they did take some damage in those two areas, they won't be completely losing them just yet.
That tempo swing might just be the thing that Mississippi needs. If they know how to use this tempo swing in their favor in the right way, this is their opportunity to try and stabilize the game state, and from there they might be able to find a way to turn this around. Another mistake like that, they're definitely going to be in a very, very scary situation. For
sure, and it seems like Mississippi State's going to be going in right now and clearing all these wards that Texas Tech has been laying down. Getting that vision away and being able to try to restrict their knowledge of their team's whereabouts. So that's definitely good on the Mississippi State side, but only clearing a couple isn't going to be able to completely kill the ant farm, because Texas Tech's just going to go back and lay them back down again.
Unfortunately, Mississippi State hasn't had that vision control as much this particular game. Like, you see that they're clearing wards, but they're not exactly placing them down either. In a position to be placing down wards when they're this behind, it's very scary to just walk into your jungle like Braum is here. He flash away, but that might cost them later on in the game.
Yeah, they'll definitely won't see no Braum flash ult for a little bit. Got 290 seconds on that baby going down. But it seems like Texas Tech's not going to have to worry too much about the Dragon side warding right now, just because of the fact that Dragon's not there. Dragon won't be there for a little while. And so instead, they're going to probably worry about warding around Baron, maybe trying to make a Baron play, take the Baron, do a final mid lane ARAM this baby to the final Nexus, push down, or at least taking down that inhibitor in the mid lane, and that'll extremely open up their paths. But that's if they are able to get that far. First, they probably want to get a couple picks onto Mississippi State and being able to try to reduce their power and being able to have a little bit more of a secure takedown.
Definitely not something that they have at the moment. You're seeing that Texas Tech is pinging for all 5 members to go mid, so they can get this turret, which is already very low.
That's for sure, and it seems like they'll be able to try to. Scar's going in a little bit, but he's going to be back in the turret, taking the damage. I feel like Texas Tech right now is not staying as a unison group. They seem to be very spread out across the maps, and they're not trying to be together as much, which can work both to the favor, since the Corky just actually took another layer at the top lane, and it's that he's just pushing in on this Scion who just can't do anything. It's kind of funny. The Scion's boring the Shen so much, but Shen's big brother Corky came in and it's now showing him.
Wait a minute. Speaking of that, Scar is going all the way inside, going to land his spear onto the Warwick. He's taking a lot of damage. There comes that Braum ult coming down anyways. Chain of Corruption going to land on his ear. He's forced to use the Emperor's Divide to get people away. Janna's going to use that Monsoon and the Flash to keep her teammates alive, but it's not quite enough, as Shen's trying to do the much damage as he can. Azir on Fop is going to go down once again. And there goes the tier 2 mid turret, and maybe even this turret as well.
Yeah, that fight
towards Baron.
Yeah, they're definitely gonna move towards Baron now with that. So many 2 down for that team fight was perfect. Now, especially since they took down the jungle, you don't have to have some weird smite off here now at the Baron. You don't have to worry about being contested. They have to just clean take this, then probably back buy some weapons, and then a final push down the mid lane. So there we go. Baron's popped. Everyone's backing like I would think they would, and they're gonna buy those weapons and probably just push it down mid, because right now Texas Tech is just loaded. They have a 10k gold lead, 3 dragons. It's just the odds are in their favor. It's going to take a lot for Mississippi to be coming back from this one. They're going to have to just get super lucky, group up, and just be able to take down that Varus and Corky. I feel once they take those 2 down, the damage for Texas Tech drops immensely, because the Corky's just doing that insane burst with the combo with his Trinity Force Sheen proccing, and then his ult being able to do percent-based health damage. And the Varus is just Varus. He just does tons of damage over time with the Gunzo just popping up. So I definitely think the only way for Mississippi coming back for this one is by taking down that Corky and the Varus.
I think it's an issue with Varus particularly, but rather the Rage Blade item itself and how much value that gets you, especially in these teamfight heavy comps.
Yeah,
And it's just like a ton of damage spread across multiple members of Mississippi's team.
that's for sure. And it seems like in the top lane right now, Shen's actually using that stuff to try to slow down Sion and keep him distracted while the rest of Texas Tech is pushing in the bot lane and Cookie's pushing through that mid lane, basically just doing that 3-man split pushing to try to split Mississippi up, since that's the best for Texas Tech right now is by keeping them all separated and not having to have to fight them all at once and be able to poke them off with that Varus and Corki long range damage.
I think that's a brilliant idea because you're seeing that Mississippi's forced to push these Baron buff waves away, and that's allowing Texas Tech to have even more control over the objectives. As you're seeing right here, they're just going to take that dragon once again, uncontested. All 4 dragons going over to Texas Tech.
Jinx definitely tried to get a little bit of that lucky grab right there, but sadly nothing's going to come out of it, and they're going to have now these 4 buffs, 2 earths, 1 water, and 1 fire, and that's just, they now have increased damage, they have out of combat regeneration, and they just have these 2 earth drakes to help just pound these towers in. So they're definitely set up, they're setting up for succeeding in this game right now, and it's definitely proving it right now.
Whoa, Corky getting a little ambitious. Oh, but he gets the kill nonetheless. Did you see that damage? I didn't.
It's crazy. I told you, it's 100 to 0. This Corky literally just has to auto R, and is gone. Especially if he's on that red rocket, since the 2 gray rockets do less damage, while the red rocket does 200% of a gray damage and base damage. So it's a lot of damage coming out from that red one.
There's another person just completely deleted. This is going to be the final push here for Texas Tech University with their Baron. The Nexus is exposed. The last team fight of the game, Chain of Corruption coming out. That's going to be a lot of damage. Blue team turret is finally going to be destroyed. Cyan gets destroyed by Cookie Case on Skarner, and I just think the game.
I think now it's just a little bit of a couple more kills to get up those KDAs, but for the most part, that was a great game. It showed how the Texas Tech was great with the vision and control and everything. It showed how Mississippi State was unaware of certain dragon takes and just not communicating.